thing. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got some very obscure words which all come from Mark's book, Horologicon, but they're going to give you three alternative explanations for this word, and it's up to you to decide which one is the true one. Now, some of you might know these words already, but if you do, keep quiet about it. What we're going to have, after a little bit of discussion, we're going to have a vote. And Mark might comment on these words and introduce it, and he will adjudicate which is the right one. So let me introduce first, who are we going to start with? We're going to start with, the word is Pimginit or Pimginit?
I don't know. I'm afraid.
Well, let's go for. We'll go for Pimginit. There could be possible alternative pronunciations of this, and we'll come to that. So let's start with Pimginit, and Ben Cottam will introduce his explanation.
Thank you, John. A Pimginit is an apron of rough calico as worn by country midwives around the 18th century when attending births. It was probably a sort of dark russet in colour, to help cover the stains. The same colour as sort of autumn leaves of oak trees. Hence, when John Clare writes in his poem of the midwife oak that brings forth autumn leaves, he's of course making an analogy with the colour of the Pimginit. It's perhaps a corruption of Pinginit and has been changed for reasons of euphony. If pinafore refers to how the apron was held, it was pinned to the fore. A Pinginit was held with a ginnet. It was held with a knot in the centre. If you've read the Dickens novel A Tale of Two Cities, you'll recall that the nurse, the midwife who delivers Charles Darnay's first child is called Mrs. Pimginit, but she, of course, is wearing a pinafore. So a tale of two cities, a tale of two aprons. So yes, Pimginit's a midwife's apron.
Okay, thank you, Ben. So it's a midwife's apron, possibly. Okay, Kevin.
Mr. Cottam, I've known you for 12 years now, and that is the most ignorant, pathetic and stupid gallimaufry, olla podrida and farce of ignorance I have ever heard. A Pimginit, or shall we say Pimginit, which is the correct pronunciation, is in fact Irish in origin. And as those of you who are familiar with the Irish language know, the pin that begins it is a kind of intensifier. It increases the strength, the intensity of the oath. And of course, a ginnet or a ginnet is an eejit, an idiot, a fool, a buffoon. Now, I have a text here which I'm going to depart from because the text here says, by the way, cow tipping is an urban legend that dates back to Roman times. This is absolutely untrue. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and many was the pleasant evening when I went off cow tipping after having a few too many Jack Daniels. It's a very pleasant experience, and it is not something that, as it says here, that a Pimginit or Pimginit is the pinnacle of the kind of person to whom you say, you Pimginit, or ginnet, if you try to tip a bull. It is a ginnet, meaning an idiot, a Pimginit, a complete idiot, an absolute buffoon.
So, a complete idiot. Thank you, Kevin. And now, Rob, what's your definition?
Pimginit. My answer is John Farndon, logic laid bare. The only way I could do this was as if I couldn't know the answers because I'm a terrible liar, and I'm struggling to make this sound truthful. A Pimginit is a terrible, awful, angry spot on your face which you have to live with or deal with by pinging it with your fingers or a needle onto your bathroom mirror or the food or your date. So a Pimginit can be pinged and sounds a bit like a pimple, I guess, is a terrible, angry, ugly spot on your face.
Well, there you go. So we have three possible explanations. We have a midwife's apron, we have a complete idiot, and we have a very nasty, squeezable pimple. So, would you like to make your minds up? Has anybody got any questions first? Okay. Well, let's kind of move straight to a vote then. Okay. Hands up those who think Ben is telling the truth and it's a midwife's apron. So, who would like to do some counting for me? I'm kind of rotten at counting. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so 14 for a midwife's apron. Okay, and now we have votes for a complete idiot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, oh, well, it's just the midwife's apron is just winning out at the moment. Okay, and finally, let's have some votes for the nasty pimple. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it looks like Ben has won there with the midwife's apron. And now, Mark, can you tell us whether the audience have got it right?
It was a damn lie that you told. It was a damn lie that he told. And it is indeed a large red angry pimple is the dictionary definition. Because even pimples have emotions. Also, just so you know, there's a specific kind of pimginnet called a grog blossom. A grog blossom is a spot you get the morning after a night out drinking.
Okay, thank you. So that's one, and you're one down, audience. So see if you can do better on this one. And the next word we have is sockdolager. It's a very odd word. So let's start again with Ben.
Right, well, it will come as no surprise to find that I am from Lancashire, but my aunt is actually French, and we tease her. She's developed an accent that I call Francastrian. She sort of goes, "Bloomy neck, pff, what a flipping rip-off. I went to buy some butter from the Spar shop, it was 80 pence. Pff, like that. And we're very cruel to it in my family, but of course, we the English, mangle the French language all the time. It's a tradition I nobly maintain on my holidays. I mean, just think of all the words that we have corrupted, fillet, beef, Paris, and as Mark mentioned earlier, champagne. But there's a really interesting example with the word sockdolager. The bad French effect is almost deliberate. It comes, as any Francophile might be able to tell you, from ce côte de l'âge, on the cusp of the age. And I want to take you back to sort of late 19th century Oxford. You've got a lot of very pretentious undergrads who meet up to quaff absinthe and to smoke cheap cigarettes and discuss Toulouse-Lautrec and Henry Bergson and people like that. And they became known for being a ce côte de l'âge, on the cusp of an age. And this was, then they became known as ce côte de l'âgères, and then sockdolagers. So sockdolager is actually a kind of teasing term for a Francophile sued. They're still easily identifiable, sort of black clothes in the sunshine, a love of Ornette Coleman's more obscure records, quoting Foucault, Adorno, that sort of thing. So yes, sockdolager is an obscure word for a Francophile sued.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Okay, Kevin, tell us what it really is.
Transparent charlatanism. Okay, I need to draw your attention back to the habit that English has of modulating words that they take from other languages. So, for example, most of you will know that the word hocus pocus, meaning a kind of magical tomfoolery, is a corruption of hoc est corpus. It was an attack on Catholic idolatry at the time of the Reformation. There's another one. An old-fashioned slang word for ice cream in England is hokey pokey, which used to come from the fact that ice cream salesmen, who were all from Italy, used to give to little children a bit of ice cream and say, ecco un po', and they heard this as hokey pokey. Now, sockdolager is exactly one of those words which is a mistranslated, or rather misheard and then reformed into English version of a foreign phrase, in fact, indeed a Latin phrase. The phrase being the doxology, which, as it correctly says here, is the Puritan version of the dramatic conclusion of Gloria at the end of a hymn. So the doxology was the final part of the church service in which the entire congregation joined in. So it means that it's the end of something, and it occurs particularly in the context of arguments. So that if you're having an argument where, for example, I was once witness to an argument where somebody was trying to prove their masculinity against somebody else, and he concluded with he asked the question, "Look, mate, how many women have you had in the last week?" And the guy muttered and mumbled a bit. He said, "Well, I've had 3 and I'm a puff." So that was a sockdolager blow. It's the final remark in an argument which puts an end to an argument. A sockdolager means the final and unanswerable end to an argument.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Okay, Rob, tell us what it is then.
Right. There's several steps to this one. if this is true, I'll eat my head. Sock de Lager is a German word from lager, but lager doesn't mean beer. It means storage in German, where the beer was kept, and that's how they got the name. So a lager was actually a cave, but not where beer was kept originally. It was a place where you would lie down, a lying down cave, I guess where you would sleep in cavemen times, or a special cave, a nap cave, which sounds like a great idea. You should have more nap caves in every workplace. So a Sock de Lager is actually a medieval German beer cellar where they kept their beer.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, we have 3 alternative definitions for Sock de Lager, or however you pronounce it. Okay, we have what we have. We have a French sued, we have a final blow in an argument, and we have a German medieval beer cellar. Okay, so let's kind of have votes for a French sued. 1, ooh, not very many. Oh dear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is going up. If we stay here long enough, it might go up. But okay, 7 for a French sued. All right. How many votes for a final blow? 1. Ooh, there's a lot there. It's getting a lot of support for a final blow. I think I probably don't need to count this, but let's have a final vote for the German medieval beer cellar. Oh, just the 3.
Pretty much.
Well, I think we have a pretty conclusive vote there. Dear. Oh, well, okay, so we have a final blow. So, Mark, tell us the truth.
I'd like to point out that the German beer cellar etymology is all kind of correct. Lager is storage beer. It's beer that's laid down in a, I don't know if it's necessarily a cave, but a cellar, a lager cellar. However, that line was utterly wrong. It was as untrue as the whole French sued thing. A sockdolager is a knockout blow in an argument.
Okay, well done, audience. So it's 1-1. So we have one deciding round here, and see, is it the panel that are going to win, or is it you? And our final word is womblecrop. But we're going to change the order here. So let's kind of start with, let's start with Rob. So the word is womblecropped.
I read it as wamble-cropped. If you take a ramble, it's rural in origin. Someone has already said it's true. So there you go. A wamble-cropped, so that takes care of the wamble bit. The cropped is actually a type of knot, which tinkers would use when they're carrying around all their products. The best way to store them on their rope would be to use this certain knot so they wouldn't be damaged. And there is, I'm sure this is truthful, an anecdote which goes along with it. A tinker's dam, which I think sounds true, is the dam they would put in to block a pot that was broken. And there would probably be cowboy tinkers at the time. What they would be called before the age of cowboys, I don't know, bastards, that would not mend the pots very well, and with paper and a bit of solder, walk off, and the customer wouldn't find out for days. And so it's not worth a tinker's dam, is where the phrase comes from. So a wamble-cropped is a type of knot used by tinkers.
Okay, a tinker's knot. Okay, Kevin, tell us what it is.
This is complex because, in fact, there's a fake etymology and there's a real etymology. And the fake etymology, which is very convincing, some of you probably know the word wamble, W-A-M-B-L-E, as a rural expression meaning to vomit. And it's occasionally been said that the reason that this word has its meaning, and the meaning incidentally is to do with an itinerant scyther. It's a person who goes from, who in the, before the Industrial Revolution used to go from village to village, hiring himself out as a scyther. But in the manner of all, this is famously the case, for example, in the printing trades, the famous all people who can hire themselves out for short periods, they are notoriously given to alcoholism. And particularly in the West Country of England, the Wamblecrofter, who was an itinerant scyther, would get absolutely ripped on scrumpy and other modes of cider and then vomit it copiously, probably after having hallucinations, because scrumpy is hallucinatory. That is a widely believed etymology for the Wamblecroft, but it's not actually correct. And the correct pronunciation is actually Wamblecroft. And it is not widely known, but it is absolutely the case that Elizabeth Beresford, when she created her creatures, the Wombles, who went around Wimbledon Common tidying things up and making the rural squalor of Wimbledon Common tidy, she was actually harking back to this older tradition, not of a tidier, but of a scyther, someone who came into a village and scythed it. And of course, wamble or womble is connected etymologically correctly to the word ramble. They were ramblers and they were croppers. A wamble cropped is a wandering cropper.
Okay, so there we have another possibility. So, Ben, tell us what your
Good
idea
evening.
is.
Yes, well, they say that the devil has the best tunes. I don't know. I really like the music of Thomas Tallis. But what I do know is that some of the most interesting words in the English language are to do with the movement of one's bowels. There's a special academic journal devoted to this called the Reader's Digest. And they're always great, aren't they? The words to do with one's insides, gurgling, rumbling, growling, burbling. I love the word borgigmus, which you find in kind of Joyce, Nabokov. Anthony Burgess is very fond of using it in the Enderby novels. But yes, wamblecropped is a wonderfully onomatopoeic word. Wambling is this old English word for kind of the rolling, the movement of the stomach. And after some overexertions, maybe if you drink too much, eat a dodgy pie, your stomach might start wambling. And if it gets especially bad, then you will end up you will end up wamble-cropped. You will be quite literally crippled by your wambling. And brilliantly, it's used in quite an obscure Middleton play, a game at chess. My soul can digest a monster without crudity, a sin as weighty as an elephant, and never wamble for it. So, yes, the soul is not wamble-cropped. So, yes, wamble-cropped, to be crippled by a rumbling stomach.
Well, there you have it. So this is your final chance to land a blow on the panel. So we have three possible definitions. We have a tinker's knot. We have an itinerant mower. And we have a rather nasty stomach complaint. So, okay, let's go for tinker's knot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5 over there. Not many for tinker's knot. Well, okay. How about the itinerant mower? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my goodness. It looks like it's going one way, but we'll wait and see. Okay. How about the stomach complaint? Oh, my goodness. Well, it looks like stomach complaints are the order of the day. So, well, let's find out, have the panel won or have you won?
The people have prevailed.
Hooray! Mark, would you like to add any more words about wamblecropped? Have we said it all?
It's my favourite word in the English language. I just
It
love
is a rather fine
and I always
word.
pronounce it wamble rather than womble.
Wamblecropped.
Yeah,
Okay.
wamblecropped.
Well, look, thank you very much to Mark Forsyth
Thank
and Ben Cottam and Kevin Jackson and Rob Stott.